at me like that.
You don't even know the quadratic equation.
Well, I maybe would know it if you looked at me a different way.
Do you realize you do this to me every single week?
Do you realize you look at me like that every single week?
Are you going to bring your partition out again?
My what?
People have to look at you. You can't hide behind your screens anymore. I have to make eye contact with you to see if you understand this equation. Your mom is paying me so much money, and you know she's paying me so much money. She's working 3 jobs, and she hired a private tutor for you. And I'm not allowed to look at her precious child.
No, like, you can look at me. It's just the way you're doing it. It's not like this, it's more like this. And it's just hard to concentrate on things when it's like this, you know?
So I need to back up. I can back up. Let's go.
I could use a little more space. Maybe just a smidge more. We're getting there. I'm feeling more comfortable, but if you could just even, just a little bit, just like maybe another 2 feet. Just 2 feet more.
She's doing it, and she's asking me to leave her room, just like last week.
Snitch.
I'm telling your mom.
I know. You always tell my mom.
All right, just read me the problem. I can't see it from here.
The problem is the teacher is sitting too close to the student, and the student wants the teacher to go farther away.
Scene. And scene. Nice job. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thanks for going first. Good job. So, those of you who weren't in the scene, how would you sum up? What was that scene about? Simply.
Just tutor and the tutoree or tutee, yeah. And then obviously the person that's being tutored being completely uncomfortable and not wanting to work on this and using anything as an excuse to not learn the thing, and it ended up being great.
Okay. Anyone else want to jump in? What was the scene about? I mean, yes. But if you could sum it up in a sentence, what would anyone say that scene was about?
It's about redirecting a problem so that the problem won't be solved. Because she doesn't know how to solve it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay.
It reminded me of 2 concepts that I saw in class back in the day. One was from this. I don't remember who said it, but something about not letting go your shit. Is that the right concept? But
yes.
Like sticking to your shit. Someone said sticking to your shit, and Chriselle was just in it, and she's like, I cannot work with this. That's one. And also the distancing, like I imagine that scene just doing this and getting farther from each other, which worked funny as well here in this situation. It's like, why would you get far from the camera?
Yeah. Anyone else? I mean, yes, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, you would think that from the start that scene was about quadratic equations, but of course it can't ever be about that. It's always about people. That quadratic equation stuff is what just the MacGuffin that Rosowski likes to talk about so much. It's to the point where you can't forget it. But yes, so it was interesting that instead of becoming, this could have been what we call a teaching scene, and we know that a teaching scene is not a good thing to do usually. It's show me how to tap dance. Okay, you can do this. You mean like this? No, not like that. Like this. Is this better? Well, it's better, but not as good. Try with your left foot. Like this? Yeah, fine. So it didn't turn into a teaching scene. It could have, but it didn't. Why didn't it turn into a teaching scene? Anyone? What happened that made it not turn into a teaching scene?
Crystal.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You answer it. You were in the scene.
No, Ruddy. No,
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
So Crystal didn't respond to the quadratic equation. And what was really lovely is she responded to what was already in the scene, which was Amy's posture, which was kind of like this. And so she responded to what was there in the scene, which was a kind of emotional subtext. And she held her point of view. You're too close. I'm uncomfortable. You're making me feel uneasy, those kinds of things, and kept repeating that so that repetition is not redundancy.
Right.
So her holding her point of view is what kept the scene very strong, and it let Amy know what her point of view was until they started saying farther back, and then it became kind of funny. And we were all invested by that point because they had an emotional connection, which was, I'm your teacher and I'm going to be here over you. I feel like you're hovering kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so it was a beautiful, very short 2-person scene. Mm-hmm. And that's why she didn't, even when she asked the question at the end. So Amy asked the question, but Crystal didn't answer it.
No, it still wasn't about the actual quadratic equation. Yeah.
She kind of reinforced her point of view again in a different beat. So that's why I thought that it was, and like you said, it was about the two people interacting, not about the teaching.
There you go. Now let me. So I love the scene, and we learned a few of these things that you just heard about from that scene. Let me make a point about sticking to your shit and your point of view. It's a good thing to do until it isn't. Mm-hmm. You stick to your shit until something happens to make you evolve. Any scene, whether it's a scene written in a book, a scene on a stage, any play that you ever watch, any good play, except maybe Waiting for Godot, is about transformation. Somebody changes. Someone, usually more than one person, isn't the same person at the end that they were at the beginning. So somebody didn't stick to their shit. Someone learned something. Amy couldn't stick to her shit. So she had to back off. In that scene, Amy was the professor or the tutor, but who had high status in that scene and who had low status in that scene?
Crystal had the higher status.
Say again?
Crystal had the high status. I had the low status.
Yes, you did. Even though you're the teacher, she's the student, she had high status. Why? What gave her high status? I mean, how can you tell that she had high status?
She was telling me what to do, and I was doing what she was telling me what to do.
Damn right. She was bossing you around, and you were taking it.
Yep.
So if you're taking it, that means you're not sticking to your shit. Someone has to give.
Yep.
Someone has to give. And it can keep going back and forth. It works like a seesaw. If two people on a seesaw, who has the power? The one down here. Mm-hmm. The one down here, if they don't want to keep that person up there all day, they can. This person's got nothing to say about it. Only when this person down here relinquishes the power and lets this person come down. Low status always has the power. And if you can, this is a 2.5 minute scene, but if you're doing a 10-minute scene, the way to keep a scene fresh and to keep it moving and to keep pumping energy into the scene is for that seesaw to keep pumping energy into the scene. For someone to be high and then something brings them low and something brings the other one high and something brings them back again. And every single time that happens in a scene, every time that status shifts in a scene, you find out what the scene is about right then. You think it's about XYZ, but as soon as this person winds up down here, we now know, no, it wasn't about that at all. It was about what put them down there. Or it's about how that person got from there to here. Now we know. It's not about this, that, or the other thing. It's about, I don't want to live in this apartment with you anymore. It's not about the bickering. So, yes. So I promised you annoying shit. So let me. Oh yes, here's some annoying shit. Yes. The low is where it's at. Everything flows towards it. So you should, if you want to make improv easier on yourself, be aware that occasionally you want to be the one who's wrong, who's weak, who's crying, who's manipulated, who's guilty. You don't want to do that in life. You want to prove how smart and how clever you are in life. But in improv, half the time you want to be the one who's low, who gives in big time. And when you give in, don't just dip your foot in the water, dive into that deep end and submerge. Because you'll have a chance to get back up there again. Except everyone who's a good improviser and has done this for a while knows down is where you want to be. But someone's already down there. I got to wait until that person relinquishes down so I can be the one crying in the scene. Because that's what you want to be. That makes you the cat. That makes you the thing that everyone is looking at. If years ago, many years ago, I organized a little thing where an old friend of mine was going to be at this bar, and we hadn't seen one another in years, and the whole gang, and I had the whole gang meet him there, and he was so surprised that we were all there, and I had someone that he didn't know at the bar who came up to him and hit him in the face with a cream pie, and we all took pictures of it as it happened. Now, as a joke, because he's that kind of guy who would do that. So years later, I couldn't tell you the people who threw the pie. I only know the guy who got hit with the pie. Nobody cares who threw the pie. The attention is all on the person who gets hit with the pie. So learn to want to be wrong and weak, which is the opposite of what you want to be the rest of your life. Okay, that was really good. Let's get two other people in. Any questions about that? Any comments? Make any sense? Yeah. Well, you saw it right there. You saw how Amy was willing to not just willing, but happy to, and if it had gone on for twice as long, it would have been nice to see you jump down as well and be wrong about something. So it's so satisfying for the audience to see someone who's high brought down low just for a minute. And that's what we're doing this for. Any questions?
Comment for Amy. I like that. I like how he brought up the mother, because it brings depth to the relationship. Like, I'm doing this, and your mother has like working 2 jobs just for me too. Like, so I think she has the power, because she is like giving her what she wants, because she knows that this is for her good. So I like also that.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. Some improv teachers will tell you that you should never refer to someone who's not on the stage. Like if they're not in the scene, if they're not there, why are you talking to them? If they're so important, they should be on the stage. that's really a very simplistic way of looking at things. Yes, someone who's not there shouldn't be an important character, but there was no reason why you can't broaden things out and do exactly what Amy did, and bring, in an improv troupe, it's likely that someone would have walked off the back line and joined the scene and been mom. But even if it's just a 2-person scene, there's no reason you can't do that, as long as you don't dwell on that, as long as you still keep it between the 2 people. Okay, let's get 2 more. Nice job. Let's get one here, and let's get you here. All right. This is why I like using StreamYard for this. I can bounce people around like this, and it's a little more interesting. Okay, same deal. I'm not going to give you any input. About 2.5 minutes. Just go whenever you're ready.
Oh my God.
Hmm?
Are those curls? Are those
Yeah.
curls?
I've had these curls for a week and it didn't even notice.
I know, but it seems like the high definition in your camera is popping out today. Did you upgrade your wireless or something?
Yeah. I've had a new camera. Yeah, just for you to notice the curls that I've had for weeks.
Listen, I love that. I love that technology, can make me notice you. It's just, I feel like ever since the 5G towers went up, I don't know, our link has been stronger than ever, Is it just me and my Mac, or does it happen to you too?
Oh, maybe it's everything.
Oh, you mean the microphone as well? Is that new?
Yeah, the microphone as well. Look, I can
Still changed voice.
Like this and everything.
Done everything to make you see me. Yeah. It's all in the
microphone.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I am rock hard right now. I mean, modulation? This is so much better than being in person.
See, nice job. Well done.
Cool.
That is potentially the saddest scene I've ever witnessed. Okay, so you actually acknowledge the fact that you're on a screen, which is unusual for this, but by no means a bad idea. So, any thoughts from the onlookers? What was this scene about?
I just love how he wrapped it up at the end saying, this is so much better than being in person. Because, I mean, that was so perfect.
Yeah, that's when the tech person knows to turn the lights out right there. That's a button. Right? So what was the scene about? If you had to describe
people in a relationship, and, obviously they were FaceTiming or something along those lines, doing a Zoom call, hangout.
Well, okay, it's true. That was the plot, I guess. What was the theme?
Technology.
And it was about technology, but it's never about anything other than something human. So what was it about?
Jeremiah's character didn't pay attention to Andy. Andy was wanting him to see her more as who she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of those things that we that they talk about in improv classes. A want or a need, or what some people call a focus. You know, what one character wants from the other, each character wants from one another, and what they want from the world, and how they usually don't mesh, or how they never quite get what they want, or how they get it but it's not the way they want it. So that was there, and yes, if I had to sum it up, if I was writing a review of this scene in the New Yorker, it would take me 4.5 pages just to say it's about a woman who wasn't noticed by her boyfriend, no matter what she did. Any other comments about that? Just the scene in general? No.
Oh,
go ahead. No,
I was gonna say, I like how they took their time establishing the scene, or like they weren't in a rush to start. They kind of just waited until they felt compelled to speak or react. And I feel like sometimes, especially when you're performing, you feel like you want to stray away from awkward silences, but you don't realize that those could be like little golden nuggets of like tension, or like that the nonverbal is speaking in itself.
Wow. Yes. So that leads me to put up another piece of bullshit on the screen here. So let me see. Here it is. That. Yes. So in other words, you don't always have to be clever. Sometimes it's good to simply be curious or unsure, particularly as the character, but also as the actor, to not go into a scene trying to control things, trying to make your vision of what you think the future of this scene is going to contain. And one of the reasons that we don't want to do that we don't want to try to control where the scene's going to go, is a very simple reason. It's impossible. If we were telekinetic and it was possible to do this, first of all, improv wouldn't be very interesting anymore. But we can't. It's just not possible. The only way to make, if you and I walk into a scene at the beginning and I have an idea of where the scene should go and how it should all unfold, how do I get that across to you? I can't. The only thing I can do is manipulate you, is use you as a cardboard cutout. And every time you do something that doesn't quite fit my idea, I ignore it or talk over it or tell you that that's not really what's happening. I mess with you. So if it's useless, why do it? You can't do it. So that's very true. Anything else that you noticed about that scene? Lovely scene. Anything else that you noticed? Anyone? Well, even if you were in it.
It was really helpful to see I haven't done this in so long, and to see the previous scene and the back and forth between them, and again refreshing myself. It's just a note of saying, oh, it's about us and not about whatever it's gonna happen. Like, made me focus on her so much that helped me a lot myself, focusing on her.
Yeah, it's always about the people. Every time you think it's about, who is it, Joe Bill, who says, no one goes to the theater to find out if the bicycle gets fixed. It's not about the bicycle. And as you know, you've been in classes with me, Jeremiah, so actual physical classes where I have someone do a particular, or so have you, John, where I have people do a repetitive task like fixing a car. As one person is doing that the entire time and the other person isn't, and no one is allowed to talk about the car and the fact that they're fixing a car. and it totally changes everything about the scene that they're doing. They're not talking about I need a 3/16 wrench. It's Andrea's going to leave me. Yeah, she met a guy down at the Unitarian Church. If I just said Andrea's going to leave me, she met a guy down at the Unitarian Church, it means one thing. If I say it while I'm doing this, it adds an entirely different context. So while we can do physical, from the first scene and from this scene, we can see that physicality and verbal don't have to mesh. They don't have to be the same thing. And when there's a dichotomy between the two, when the verbal doesn't match the physical, that's where interesting things happen. When you're saying one thing and doing another. Anything else about that particular scene that you noticed?
I'd like to thank Jeremiah for the scene. I like how his curiosity made the scene fun, because our object work is like my object work is like that, and he has an object work, and he is the one who put the put the picture on the scene, because this can mean anything, but he focused on the curls. So when he focused on the curls, I focused on the girls problems with boys. that the
Right.
girls want them to make me feel noticed. So yeah.
But of course, he wouldn't have done that if you hadn't have made that move.
Yeah.
So you didn't know why you were doing it. You just did it. And I teach that all the time. Get into a scene. I used to do duos, and the instant I walked out on the stage with my partner, I still had no idea what I was going to say or do. I had nothing in my head. Nothing. No clue. Not a word, not a feeling, nothing. Blank. And you just do a thing. You do it, and then later on someone or you together will find out why you were doing it. It's one of those things that I call the incredible backwards trick. It works in lots of different ways, and one of them is that, and we'll talk about that. You do a thing, someone remarks on the thing and says a thing, which causes you to do a thing, which causes a scene to happen, which causes things to go to this place. Now, you did them backwards, but the audience doesn't see them that way. You did the effect and then came up with the cause. But the audience only sees causes and effects. So they don't know that one was before the other. All they know is some magic trick just happened, and they had no idea how you could have possibly known to do the thing you just did. Well, you did it backwards, but they don't know because they don't know the trick. Okay, let's jump 2 more people.
Thank you, Andy.
What's that? Yes. Here we go. We got there and there. Don't worry, I'll get to you. Same deal. 2.5 minutes approximately. No input. Whenever you're ready.
Joe, what are you doing, bro? Why get a little bit closer? I can't.
I know what I'm doing. I know what I do. I know what I'm doing. I don't need you to supervise me. I do what I'm doing.
You do this every time, Joey. Listen, man. Just no. You need to get closer. I can't. What?
What?
You're here. Okay. Wow. I was expecting you to walk away. I'm sorry. This is the first time where you actually stood put for once. This is amazing. This is the next step. This is progress. This is wow.
That's what I'm talking about.
What?
That's what I'm talking about.
It's an achievement.
I don't need your commentary. I can stay put. I can stay. I don't need all that. Just let me be who I am.
But this is the next step. Do you realize this? What? I don't understand. This is the calmness, the fact that you're being able to be stationary, man. It's perfect. You're still there. Oh my god. This is a breakthrough, man. I never would have figured.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
What do you mean?
I stand here and you accolade me like there's going to be a parade, you know?
It's the little things, man. It's the little things. Okay, it's fine. You can get a little closer too. It's totally fine. It's no, Joey. We had something, man. We had something. Just come back, Joe.
You had some. That's what I'm saying. Look at you. Look at you. You're getting all up on me.
Just you're getting farther. No, come on, please, Joey. Come on.
You're pushing me away.
Okay, how about I go back and you get closer? Let's.
Okay.
Let me in the middle. Okay, there we go. This is for me and you. It's a bit of a little work. We'll get there.
It's not work for me. This is how I am. It's you trying to you control me. You comment on every little thing I do. There you're getting close again.
Okay. All right. So that was a nice job, of course, obviously. Those watching, tell me what the scene was about. I saw these two guys do this scene. Really? What was it about?
Ruddy felt he was being controlled by John, like he was trying to run his life.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, power struggle. Yeah.
Okay. Were these two people who, first of all, know each other well or don't know each other at all?
They know each other well.
I think so too. Were these two people who communicate really, really well with one another?
They try. John is trying to communicate well.
Trying to communicate is not the same as communicating. Were these people communicating with one another? Did they get each other? Did John's character get? No, not really.
You're not listening.
Yeah. Well, they were listening but not hearing. John had his own filter, and Ruddy's character had his own filter, and so whatever John was going to say, Ruddy was going to take it a certain way because that's his filter, and whatever Ruddy said, John was going to take it a certain way and see it. So if you had to say which one of them would you say had low status more of the time?
John.
That's what I would say. Why?
Because a lot of his reactions were based on Ruddy's interpretation of what John was saying.
Uh-huh. So even though if I had to psychoanalyze those two characters, I would think Ruddy's character was the more damaged of the two, at least temporarily. I don't know about permanently, but the more fragile of the two. He had higher status much of the time, not all the time, but much of the time. It wasn't as crystal clear, it was subtle, but it was there. So it wasn't simply an argument. because those simply an argument just screws you right into the ground. You get nowhere. Nothing is built, but which is why sticking to your point of view isn't always the best thing all the time. But it wasn't an argument, because occasionally John's character was ecstatic, like, this is great, but we knew that Ruddy's character, this is not great. So who was the pessimist and who was an optimist in this scene?
John the optimist.
Yeah. So you could tell all this stuff. If you had to now write a short story based on these two characters, I think I could write a short story based on what I just saw and flesh out their entire relationship and even their entire lives if I wanted to. Because there was enough there that lets you do that. And why? Because emotions were involved.
Yep.
Because emotions were involved. If this had just been two improvisers trying to prove to their friends, girlfriends, and parents who were the only people who ever come to see their shows, just trying to prove to them how clever they are and how many classes they've taken, then it just, but it wasn't. It was a true dynamic thing that was happening. And from that, everybody in the audience has a little story about these two characters that pops into their head. May not always be the same, but it's all there. All the seeds of it are there. So that's really cool. Before we move on, more scene. One more scene. I want to talk about. Now's a good time to talk about cake. I do it all the time. Sorry. Here's cake. These are the ingredients, basically, of cake: flour, sugar, water, eggs, milk, salt, baking soda, usually sometimes, and cake is not an ingredient of cake. You don't put cake into cake to make cake. Now, each one of these ingredients on its own, flour, sugar, water, none of them look like cake. None of them smell like cake. None of them taste like cake on their own. But when you mix them together and do the right thing and preheat to 350 and all that, you wind up with cake each time, consistently. It never changes. You will always get cake if you add those ingredients and do the recipe. And the same, why am I talking about that? Well, these are the ingredients of comedy, particularly improv comedy: anger, pathos, some of them, drama, misunderstanding. These are all the ingredients of comedy. That is not an ingredient of comedy. You don't put comedy into comedy to make comedy any more than you put cake into cake to make cake. And each one of these ingredients, anger, pathos, drama, misunderstanding, none of them seem like comedy. But when you put them together the right way, using the right recipe, preheat to 350, 25 minutes later, you get comedy. So one of the things that we've seen so far is it seems to be a general understanding among the people here that it's not about being funny. It's about creating something that is funny. Two different things. It's not about already having a cake. It's about creating it from stuff that you would never think would make one. Same thing with comedy. And that's what we've been doing so far, which is kind of cool. It's very, very rewarding. So let me get two more up there. Joy, let's get you up there. Who wants to go again? I know who wants to go again. There you go. You're in. So you know what to do. I'm not going to give you any input. Just go. 2.5 minutes or so.
Georgia! Georgia! Is that you? Georgia, I'm your high school friend. Remember?
Friends. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Friends. That's Rebecca? Rebecca, was that your name?
How dare you? How dare you forget me?
Sorry. That was my best guess. That was the first thing that came to my head.
I was the one with you when you broke up with your boyfriend, and you dare to forget me?
I didn't know we were friends. Didn't know I had any friends. So this is a surprise to me. I mean, I'm down. I didn't know.
Okay. So, how are you?
Pretty good. You know, I have a friend now, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
How are
You want-
you?
I'm fine, and I'm so happy to see you. I just remember the times when you were so down, and you were so like putting your heart out and being very emotional. And yeah, I remember we were eating like ice cream and all. It's the best friendship I had. You were the coolest girl in class, you know? And I feel like I feel like a celebrity because whenever I'm with you, yeah, man, people are like looking around and seeing you and me together. Oh,
Pause. I'm gonna pause you guys. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm gonna pause you because I like this so much. I want to give you a suggestion. I didn't do this before, but I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna give you a quick little suggestion and then continue from where you left off. Crazy. Keep getting crazy. Chriselle. Shit. I got it. Chriselle. Got it. Chriselle. She's gonna keep doing what she's doing. While she's doing it, I want you to do anything else like filing your nails or looking on your phone, anything that minimizes what she's saying to you.
Okay.
But you can say whatever you want to say, but do that. Keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah, your version of my high school life is a lot different than I remember it, but I like yours.
yeah. What are you listening? Are you listening something cool sounds or music?
I wouldn't describe your voice as sounds or music, but yeah, I guess sounds. I'm listening to your sounds coming out of your mouth. They're real cool.
What music are you listening to? I need to have that in my Spotify too. I want to know. Georgia, yeah. I want to be cool. Like you.
Cool like me. I guess you could start by crying a lot over ice cream.
Crying. But I'm happy.
Oh, then you're already striking out with the whole trying to be me thing.
Scene. Nice. Okay, good. So what was that scene about, watchers? In your estimation?
Well, the one having the best friend, her best friend reunion, and the best friend not remembering her best friend. It's great.
Yeah. Any other way to describe it? I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Just two different people, I guess, having different recollections of the same time that they spent with one another. Clearly, you have one person who's indifferent and it's just like, okay, wow, this person who never really had an impact on my life. But on the other end of that, you have this one person who's like, wow, I get to meet you again. You're the best, and just this person had so much impact on their life that
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
Okay, so this is an easy question. This is easier than ever. Who was low status and who was high status?
Joy was
low.
Joy was low, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even though she was bubbly and very, very positive, she was low status. And Chriselle was high status much of the time. Not all of it, but much of the time. And this is one of those things where doing something that people say you shouldn't do in improv, when you do it and it works, it proves that a lot of that old nonsense is really nonsense. Some old improv instructors will tell you, don't be indifferent. You know, you should always seem like you care. You know, there should be emotions like lack of caring about anything. Apathy is not a good emotion to have in an improv scene because supposedly it steals energy. It's energy sinks into it like a black hole and never comes back out again. Well, we just saw that that's just a lot of crap. As is much of what people were taught way back. It's not crap at all, especially if someone in the scene is so effusive and overjoyed and bubbly. It's not a bad move to be the contrast to that. Chriselle might not have made that choice if Joy hadn't made her choice. It's very, very likely. So
yeah, her unpacking, her like just all of these amazing details she was pulling and like how like bubbly she was delivering them. It was just like, oh shit. Like that's so many gifts.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I loved when you were like, "Oh yeah, I don't remember you at all." And she was like, "Anyway, it's so good to see you." I just love that moment.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna get her now. Nothing's gonna get her now. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is to do a set of scenes where I side coach you, but I won't side coach you verbally. I'll just throw a banner up on the screen so you can see what it is I'm asking you to do. So in other words, if the two of you, I'll change it around, but if the two of you were doing a scene and I threw that up there, it doesn't mean that you're not angry enough that there's something wrong with what you're doing. It means I'd like to see that dynamic added, at least temporarily. You don't have to do it forever, but and you don't need a reason. I'm not going to have a reason for asking you to do it. So let's try. Don't get too distracted by it, but I am going to keep putting those things up on the screen, so kind of keep your eyes open. So let's get two folks up. Haven't been up. Okay, right there. So I've got Jeremiah and Amy. Once again, I'm going to mention that I'd like you to do what we call grounded scenes. What do I mean by grounded? What does it mean?
Based on reality.
Okay. What else? Well, that's a good way to put it, but I'd like to make it a little clearer than that, because it's when you say I want you to do a grounded scene to some people, they think, oh well, now we have to do this boring scene where two people are sitting in the living room. To me and to a lot of other people, grounded simply means that I, as the audience, believe and your character believes what he or she is saying and doing. So it doesn't have to be boring. I just need to know that you, the actor, didn't say a thing just to get a laugh. You didn't just pull it out of the air just for a laugh. That your character believes the thing. So if I was doing a scene with you, John, and I just jumped from nowhere, said, and mutant star goats are attacking our community from the planet Zebulon. Yeah, wow. But if I said mutant star goats are attacking our planet, our community, right now from the planet Zebulon. Now, it's still the same bullshit, but the second time I believed it. Now, I may be totally wrong. My character, they might not be mutant star goats at all. That's for everyone else in the troupe later on to determine whether I'm delusional or actually there are. Don't know. Who knows? So grounded doesn't have to mean boring. It just means that I believe you and that you believe you. That's it. So I'd like us to do now grounded scenes. I want to believe you. And so far I have. And I will side coach a little bit. So I'll have Jeremiah and Amy. Are you ready? Go ahead.
Yep.
Go.
You're smirking at me again.
I know. I can't help it. It's just, oh my God, am I biting my lip again?
I love when you do that.
I love that you love that, that we love what we do to each other. It's just, that's like the definition of love, to like love everything we do, right? To each other. Like, you love what I do, I love what you do. Like, does it get any better than this?
I mean, rings, weddings, it does get better. Could get better.
I mean, we're in such a good vibe, we're in such a good vibe. You have to bring the freaking ring again. Always with the ring. Always with the ring. What is it with your commitment? I can't breathe like that, I can't feel
We
like
have been together for 17 years.
Oh my God, 70 years is nothing, okay? 70 years, it's nothing. It is so perspective. Look, a butterfly, they open in a cocoon and they live one day and that's their whole lives, okay? But it's the happiness without a ring that makes it live long.
Yes, the butterfly story again. You always avoid this conversation. You do this every single time. 17 years. I've stuck around.
You want your 17 years? You know I love butterflies. What are you crying for? You want your manipulation? Oh, I love being manipulated by you.
What are we doing?
Look,
I don't know why we're even together still. I don't know why I'm stuck around. I don't know why I'm still here. I don't know why.
I love when you talk over me.
You still will never give me a ring, ever. I don't know what. My mom was right. My mom was right. Her dying wish was for me to get a ring. She was right. I should have listened to her. I should have listened to her.
I love it. Oh, God, you are my butterfly.
See. You are my butterfly.
Butterfly.
Okay. I'll just quickly throw in my 2 cents and then we'll move on. My 2 cents was I enjoyed it. It was really fun. How did it feel to have me prompting you like that, like a orchestra conductor? Was it too distracting or?
It's helpful.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
In person, I would use hand signals or whatever. And eventually, when you learn these little things, these little dynamics, you do it yourself. Why did I ask you to be louder? For no reason. For no reason. Why did I ask you to cry? For no reason. Why did I ask you to talk over each other? No reason. I had no reason for doing it. It's not like, oh, we're at that point in the plot right now. You should do this. No reason. And yet you did it and it generated a reason. So what you can do in improv scenes is add dynamics, simple things, stuff. It's not creative thinking anymore. It's simply, I'm going to walk far apart. I'm going to talk louder. I'm going to talk over. I'm going to leave gaps. I'm going to walk away. You don't have to have a reason for doing it. You could be thinking about your tax returns while you're doing improv and simply, oh, it's time to walk away. I'll walk away, generates a new thing. I'll walk towards, generates a new thing. I'll talk louder, generates a new thing. Once again, the backwards trick. The audience can't understand, can't figure out how you knew to crescendo that way and how you knew it was going to wind up to be about this. You didn't. You had no idea. You figured it out a millisecond before the audience. But they see it as a complete performance, whereas you were just filling in, you connecting, you were putting down dots and then connecting them. And then, oh, is that what we drew? Oh, cool. But they saw the connection before you did. Why do things this way? It's easier. It means you can replicate great scenes every single time you get on a stage. I don't know if you've ever heard of Cristiano Ronaldo, a great soccer player, but the only difference between him and someone who makes 1/1,000,000th the amount of money he makes playing soccer isn't his skills. A lot of people have skills. The difference between him and everybody else is he can do it every single time. He's consistent. Every time he passes it, it's going to wind up on your foot. Every time he shoots it, it's going on goal. Every time he makes a decision, it's the right one. Every time. So his genius isn't his body. His genius is up here. Same thing with improv. Okay, let's get 2 more up. 1 and 2. Okay. Did I have you guys go together before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, I'm such a jerk. Okay. Go ahead. Let's do it this way. And I will prompt again. Go ahead. No input.
Wow.
Awesome. Mi amor, thank you for the flowers. I'm so surprised. You're so sweet. You remembered. Oh.
I'm so glad that you liked them. Oh yes. That is the look. That is your look. Yes.
Thank you.
We need to get some lipstick that matches that. You're so beautiful.
I have.
I'm the luckiest. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm my heart. It's beating really fast, and I'm so nervous.
Oh, let me feel your heart. Oh, it's pumping. Yeah, I can feel it.
I am so lucky. I am so lucky that you forgive me.
But I remembered to order a cake. Why didn't you bring a cake? Why didn't you bought a cake? You always remember that in a Valentine season there's always be a flower and a cake. Oh my gosh, I'm angry and I don't want to talk to you unless there's a cake.
I went to get a cake and they were out.
There's a lot of cake store. And you didn't bought a single one?
Damn it, I did my best. I had to go to 4 different florists to get those flowers. Because you know how hard it is to get a dozen flowers on Valentine's Day. Do you know how much it costs and how much work that is?
Oh,
God damn it!
oh, you really love me. Makes me so emotional. Because it's the only time that I felt this one, a genuine love from someone who really cares.
Maria, I do care. I love you. I love you so much. You are my everything.
Mi amor. Mi amor. Mua, 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 mua.
Scene. Nice job. I couldn't type warm and caring before you actually did it. So that was great. Cool. Any thoughts from the onlookers? Good scene, yes.
Yes, there was such good like seesaw action going on. They were totally like exchanging power back and forth all the time, which made the dynamic super fun to watch.
Yeah. Could you imagine this scene or the previous scene or the ones we were going to see? Could you imagine like this going on for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So can I. I would be riveted. I would be not riveted. I'd be moving forward and leaning forward. This is the kind of thing that makes people come back to improv shows when you can engage them emotionally. The clever stuff, it's wonderful. The clever stuff is like flotsam that floats on the top of the surface of the emotions and the physicality. You need it. You can't ignore it. You got to be intelligent, but this is the stuff, and it's so easy to generate it, even if you're not in the mood. You don't have to even think of an emotion. Just think of a dynamic, and the dynamic will draw that emotion out of you. Okay, let's get 2 more. Who hasn't done this round yet? Who hasn't done this round yet? My God. Who hasn't done you have not? You have not. Okay.
No. Okay.
Do it.
What? Isabel, what do you have there?
I have the glasses.
Can I have one?
Yeah.
Thank you. I never thought you'd let me have it. You're my big sister. I want to be just like you.
Oh well, these are mine, but like this is like 5 years ago, and that one you're wearing was like 7 years ago. So it's okay. I can give those to you.
No, it's you're blind. This is you. This is my big sister. This is just your world. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
It's just you have a hard life. I can't believe it. I can't understand it. Yeah, it's everything. I look forward to you, and just knowing that you have this vision, that you have this impairment, it makes me appreciate you more as my big sister. I what? I thought I'm coming to you as what? That's not funny. I meant what I said. What is it? What? Why are you? I don't want to be like you anymore. What? blind. You can't see. You can't see. It's okay. You can't see. Yeah, you're blind as.
I can see. I can see. We know that. We know that already. That I can see. I can see even one sunlight. I can see even one. I can even see our dog. I just hear him bark. And I want to see him. I want to see the world. I want to see sunshine. I want to see rainbows. I can't see. We know that.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Oh my God! I'm so inconsiderate. I'm hearing him yelling at you, and I didn't even know. I want to be like you. I'm sorry I threw those glasses away. I want to be everything like you. You're.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes right now. You'll be me.
Close. I'm gonna be like you. Close my eyes. You kidding?
Scene. Pretty amazing. Once again, there was no reason for me to ask you to do any of those things at any particular time. It was totally random. So you could have I noticed you were kind of doing it yourselves too. Just randomly being upset by stuff, which is cool. But yes, choose a thing to do and then do it. If we were together, you could come together. You could be close to one another physically, nose on nose, or you could turn your back on one another or kick a chair over or whatever. But we're kind of limited to voice dynamics and facial expressions. So yeah, any thoughts about that scene? Anybody watching it?
I mean, I just felt all the emotions, and especially when Andy started laughing. Oh my gosh, that laugh was so perfect, and it just felt so real. And even John's crying felt real. I mean, it was great, phenomenal accessing your emotions.
Yeah, I think the word we're looking for is grounded. That's
yes.
right. Right, and it was, and as I said, there was no reason for it. You supplied the reason once you did it. It doesn't matter. And as I said, why do this? Why just throw dynamics in? Because it's easy. Because it's easy. It's what you do. You don't ask why. You don't do this through an entire scene. You don't have to. Once the scene, it's like first gear in a car. If you drive a stick shift, first gear is tough. Going from nothing to moving is the hard part. Once it gets moving, second, third, fourth, okay, easy. Then you can do whatever the hell. Then you can start to see, oh, this is where we're going. Okay, I can help it along now. But to go from zero to moving somewhere, just do these things. And believe it or not, this approach works in short form as well. I've done it and seen it and directed it and taught it. You can do this kind of improv in short form, and it works. You don't have to do the cookie cutter short form stuff. Okay, who did not do this one yet? Someone did not go. Okay. Chriselle goes, and let's get you up there with Amy and do it. Go.
Hi. You're so pretty, and I just get nervous looking at you sometimes. But I wanted to say hi because I feel like what a formal introduction should be like.
Did you hit my mailbox again? I have a Ring doorbell camera,
Well, I will say your grass looks really, really green this time of year. It's so just like vibrant and plush. And that top you're wearing, it totally brings out your nose.
My grass is green because I haven't run over it yet. Have you? How do you still have a license?
I just renewed it because it was almost going to expire, and DMV just sent me a thing, so I just filled out the
How
paperwork.
are you a parent responsible for children? I don't understand.
Sexual intercourse is how that happens.
Okay, yeah, great, yeah. Like I don't. That's not what I meant.
Well, what did
I
you
just don't
mean?
get it. I don't understand why you have your minivan runs into my mailbox at least once a week. Those kids run amok all over our neighborhood. I watch all of this. This is all I do. I just watch you guys on my Ring camera day and night. Do you realize that?
So you're saying that you just spend your entire life judging me? Is that what you're saying? Just day and night, just judging me and judging me and judging me?
Yes, I do. That's all I ever do. Because your children are going to be delinquent.
Bullshit, and it's rude.
His record, you know, it's public knowledge. I love his mugshot, especially the one from when he was 17 years old. But that got expunged. All the that got expunged. But now he's out again on parole, and I'm going to be watching. And I know his parole officer.
Okay, I'm not the best driver,
He
but I
hits
try.
my
I don't hit your mailbox every time.
Just can't do it anymore.
Times, okay?
You're the worst neighbors on
including
the
today.
planet.
Scene.
Don't-
Scene.
Nice.
Okay, so we broke some rules. They always tell you in improv, hey, don't overtalk. That's a lot of bullshit. That's just a lot of bullshit. It's just a lot of bullshit. Don't accidentally overtalk when for no reason, but choose to overtalk. It's a choice. It's a move. It's a chess move. There was a scene before when someone was asking questions. What's that? How you do? Ask questions all you want. You don't have to answer them. It's the answers that fuck people up. It's not the questions. You can ask a question all you want. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you some questions, John, right now. Do anything but answer them. Ready? Go. Is that your car in the driveway, man?
Yeah.
You answered it. Don't answer the question.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said answer the questions. Okay, my bad.
I'm so sorry.
Let's do that again.
Maybe your headphones are on.
Yeah.
Is that your car in the driveway, Stu?
My car on the driveway? You sure? The red one? The blue one? No,
John, don't even address the question.
Okay.
Let's try one more time.
Sorry.
Or I'm going to have to, well, you know what? I'm going to move you up there. It's probably easier. Just kidding. Is that your car in the driveway, Steve? Stick to your shit. What's your shit? The question was my shit. What's your shit? Is that your car in the driveway, man?
Is that your, I don't know, your shoes in my space in my bathroom? What's going on, man?
Are you seriously? Are you serious? Are you gonna close that box of cereal before it gets stale? Are you gonna do it?
Look, dude, we've been roommates for like what, 2 years now? You're just now bringing up this shit? Like, what's going on, bro?
Okay, where do you work, man? Where do you even work? Where do you work now?
I can't just be in my room all the time reading a book, like minding my own business, and here you are in my life, in my space, just coming with me.
What happened to Steve? What happened to Big Steve? What happened to Big Steve? Where's he? Don't answer it. Say anything else. Say the fucking Gettysburg Address. Say anything else. What happened to Big Steve?
Dude, what happened to you? You weren't always like this. Always in my space.
Great. So you don't have to answer a question. And you can ask all the fucking questions you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you can overtalk. And you can turn your back on the audience. And you can definitely turn your back on one another. That whole thing about eye contact is bullshit too. You don't have to be making eye contact all the time. You can turn your back on one another. Yes, check in every once in a while, of course. But there are moments when you can turn around, walk the other way, stand behind somebody. So that. So let's just sum it all up. Anyone have let's go around the horn for today, for right now. Let's start with you. Let's just go. I always start there. So, Chriselle, any takeaways?
Yeah, I found it super interesting in the scene before ours. I can't even remember who went, but I remember you asked, oh, it was John and Andy. You asked them both to laugh at separate parts of the scene, and it didn't feel redundant even though it was within the same scene, because the laughs held such different information. And were sparked by completely different reactions. And so that was really interesting, as it didn't feel like, oh, okay, they're just going to be spending the whole scene laughing. It was, it meant something. That was really interesting to see.
Good, thank you. And by the way, everybody on who's looking at the screen saw that they were told to laugh, and yet it was no surprise to you, and yet it still affected you when they did it. Okay, Amy.
Yeah.
Any takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I just, especially with Andy and Jeremiah's scene where I think, was it you two? Yeah, when there was just that silence. I know Chriselle pointed this out already. I think as improvisers, when you're on stage, you'd want to go first, so you establish the relationship, and you have all these things in your mind. And I think just like learning to just sit and just wait, and instead of, like you said, trying to be clever, or trying to say the funny thing, or just, concentrating, like you said, on the connection, on the emotion. Like, these are things that I'm trying to, like, take out those other golf clubs that I don't need anymore. So.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes no response or is the perfect thing. John, what do you got?
After not doing this for a while, that's one of the things I always forget. Most recently, what we just did is forgetting to avoiding to answer the question. It's the most obvious thing in the world, because once you answer what's next, what's after that, when you avoid it, you're able to continue the scene in another way, and you're not either really trying to solve the issue or whatnot. But I also forgot how important dynamics were. I mean, honestly, that changed every scene. Like, they were completely different, and without them, they could have been stagnant or gone nowhere.
Well, they weren't, but
no, they weren't in this case. Yeah.
No. And those dynamics weren't thrown in there because it's morally correct to do scenes that way. It's just easy. It's an easy tool to use anytime, or not. Ruddy, what do you got?
I had a lot of fun. So hope to come back if I'm invited. And that's my name. So you can friend me on Facebook if you feel like it. If you don't, that's cool too. I hope to see you again in this class, because I had fun with everybody, and I liked watching everybody. And the truth is, that's not always the case. So I have to applaud everyone and say it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll do it next Thursday. We're gonna work on narrative, how to do a way to do narrative, not the way, but a way to do narrative, to string scenes together to tell a story. Joy, what do you got?
I have a lot of fun and joyful heart for today. The energy is so very different, but in a way very connected. And I love the grounding, the wisdom in grounding, the wisdom in silence. Very strong. Even though there's no words, there's a strong communicating language an action could have. I also love the way that side coaching does. It really helped further the action, and it's so funny because we haven't prepared any story, and when there's a side coaching below, it would lead to a story formed. It's so I love that. And thank you for this circle.
Sure. Jeremiah, what do you got?
Well, I gotta say that even though we're online, right, before my first scene, I had my heart in my throat. So I'm glad that's back. I missed that. It's like, oh shit, what the hell am I gonna do? I have no idea. So that's fun. So thank you to all of you. And the other thing that's happened to me as we did the scenes, which maybe you can suggest something, Tom, or here, is that I can't escape. It seems like the improv for me, it's at that moment, is being more natural with this, like acknowledging that we're not together in person. And I don't know if when we make up, but that's just what happened. You know what I mean? But I mean, should I try to act like I am with someone in person to person,
Well,
or
I can answer that very simply. If you were on a stage, would I tell you, don't act like you're in two separate places? I wouldn't tell you that. I wouldn't say, don't act like you're sitting on one computer and you're sitting on another computer at a different part of town, messaging one another. I would never say that, or talking to each other on Skype on the stage. So if you can pretend to be doing this on a stage, why can't you pretend to be on a stage doing this?
Okay.
That's my answer to that.
Cool.
In fact, that was so long, I'm going to write that as a third book. And and what you got?
Like it. Thank you for the opportunity for us to mingle with all of you. Hey, now that we discovered you, if you will allow us, I will share this to others. Ha ha ha! If you will allow. I love the reactions of Giselle. And scenes. I love Amy's being a neighbor. The scene, that scene. I love how John cried while while I laugh. It's a real emotion in there. I felt it. I love how Rudy can just walk around the room because my earphones are just like this long.
Me too.
You can do all this like upstage, downstage. What do you call this? A fan left and right.
Yeah.
Out. It's perfect, and I love how his reaction with the first scene was just like so serious, and then with Joy, it became he was like a very very handsome leading man.
You sure you weren't looking at me? You sure you weren't looking at me? Okay. I've kept you all a little longer than I wanted to do for you. I don't like to waste people's time, so I don't want to keep you any longer. But thank you guys very much for doing this. As I said, we do this every Thursday around this time. You're welcome. If you can't do the A Thursday, we do the same thing again on a B Thursday. So and there's another group of people that does it, and so you can mix and match. And if you want to do it, great. If you want to do both, like Amy did, that's fine too. That's it. We have Doghouse Theater puts on shows on Friday nights at 9:00 Eastern and Saturday night at 9:00 Eastern and Monday nights at 7:30 Eastern. Check it out. Well, just look at our web, well, not our website, but our Facebook presence, and you'll see the stuff there. Other than that, I just thank you guys very much. It was really lovely. You guys did some really nice work. There was, people who know me know that I don't just throw out roses. If I think something's bullshit, I say it, but no bullshit tonight. Thank you guys for being here, all of you, and especially all the way over in the Philippines. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.